we are seeing that we are tapping into this feminine energy.
Yeah.
And if this is the way, we can introduce something that is a bit more black and white,
Uh-huh.
which I'm not saying it's more appropriate for any gender, but what I'm seeing is that they learn in a different way. They comprehend things in a different
Yeah.
way, and they engage with these materials in a different way. So if stories and if beautiful stories and beautiful designs
Mm,
and can captivate, can take the focus,
mm,
and in that way show them that technology is not only trucks and gray and just boys play with it.
yeah.
We then introduce the diversity from an early age
Yeah.
into this into STEM.
Welcome to Women Disrupting Tech. My name is Dirk Jan Upkes, and on this podcast I give the women who work in tech the platform they need to inspire and empower each other. Join me on a journey into the world of entrepreneurship, funding, biases and role models to discover the strategies for success in the tech industry. In other words, how women can disrupt tech. Are you ready to listen? Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech. Thank you for listening to episode 63. One of the recurring themes on this podcast is the importance of tech education when it comes to getting more women in tech. And in two recent episodes, we learned that to get girls interested, we need to make education more practical. In today's episode, we're going to do exactly that, because my guest on this episode is Rotoy co-founder and CEO Vedrana Rogoznica, as we learn how to unlock hidden talents in young children by teaching them coding skills. In episode 63 of Women Disrupting Tech, Vedrana and I talk about how moving from Croatia to Denmark inspired her to embark on an entrepreneurial journey, the importance of learning to work with technology from an early age, and the power of storytelling as a tool to teach children how to program their own robot toy. Plus, we'll learn how Vedrana realized her ambition to do a TED Talk in the birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen. So, when you're ready to listen and learn how programming a robot can unlock hidden potential in children, please welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Vedrana Rogoznica. Good morning. Welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Vedrana. Sorry. First question I always ask at the start is how you got into your current job or current position.
Thank you so much for having me, and good morning to all the listeners. That question is not easy to answer because my current job is that I am a co-founder and a CEO of Rotoy, which is a startup that I started almost 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how I got there is a story that is lasting for, let's say, 5 to 6 years now.
Okay.
When I started my uni in Croatia,
Mm-hmm.
I was always very inspired by entrepreneurship. And that was something that I kind of always wanted to do because my idea of entrepreneurship was having a lot of freedom and doing something that is meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
was something that I was always driven by. And by being brave and courageous, I moved to Denmark, and it's all about when you want something, you see opportunities wherever you walk
Mm-hmm.
by. So
Yeah.
when I was walking down my university, I spotted this entrepreneurship program at my uni, and that's the first thing that I signed up for before any gym membership or even like going for a coffee with some new friends. It was like, okay, I'm doing this because it was just a sign. And over there, I met my co-founder, and we went through this ideation process. And the way we came up with our idea, it's actually also a funny story. My co-founder has a master's in robotics, and I
Yeah.
asked him can you please explain me what you do, but pretend that I'm 9 years old? And take in consideration that I'm a girl that likes makeup and it's just not really interested in all the techie stuff. And then we just joked about that. And then we thought, okay, what if we actually do this for kids? And what
Yeah.
if we take his knowledge in robotics and my knowledge in marketing and in business development, which is my background? What if we take that and we build a startup? And then we did. And we started that journey as a student project, and then it got serious. Then we opened the company, and then
Hmm.
it was natural development of our roles, where he took more of a CTO role, and I
Yeah.
became a CEO of this company. So, long story short, I had a passion in entrepreneurship. My interest is to inspire women, and Krzysztof, he's from Poland.
Mhm.
He has a lot of knowledge in robotics, and then we combined the two loves and motivations that we had to build where we are right now and what my role is right now.
Out of curiosity, how did you end up in Denmark and in Odense of all places?
Oh, that's also I didn't even know that I'm going to end up here. So random. But when I was studying in Croatia,
Hmm.
I felt like I haven't been asked to show my full potential.
Hmm.
I felt that I had so much more to give than my environment was asking of me. And that kind of wasn't sitting well with me
Uh-huh.
because I'm just a restless person and I need to feel like I'm always progressing and growing, both in personal but in a professional way.
Hmm.
And then during COVID, when it just started, I was sitting down on my laptop and I was looking into places outside of Croatia. Where can I go study my master's?
Yeah.
And I found few universities, picked few, and I applied for few. And then I got into some in Austria and in Germany and the one here in Denmark.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, okay, Vedrana, what do you want from this? And the
Hmm.
answer was, I want the best out of it. To get the best out of it, I knew that I needed to challenge myself the most.
Hmm.
So Denmark was an Odense, which I didn't even know that existed before
Uh-huh.
seeing this uni, was the most challenging place for me to go because, first of all, I didn't know anyone there. So I knew I had to find my own ways
Yeah.
in the city, and I thought it will teach me independency and bravery. I knew that there wasn't a big Croatian community.
Hmm.
My ways of thinking back then was that if I find someone, it will be just an easier way to get around. Like this, I will really need to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And then it was the furthest way from home, which again was just another reason for me to really, really work hard and stick to it
Hmm.
and challenge myself. That was, I think, the baseline of all the reasons that I just
Yeah.
mentioned. And
You
then
needed
I
to, you really wanted to stretch yourself to the max.
Absolutely. It was as I said, the bigger the outcome, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
That was my idea of thinking back then, as it is now.
Hmm.
And then I packed two suitcases, had my first ever layout at the airport in Amsterdam,
Hmm.
and I came to Odense, and it was just the beginning of this wonderful story.
Sounds indeed wonderful. So you meet your co-founder, Christoph.
Yeah,
He's the CTO. Has he taught you how to code, by the way?
he tried. The first time ever when we tested our robot, I was the
Uh-huh.
test kid in the company. But that's also something that I'm learning in the way, and I'm
Yeah.
also teaching others in my journey that even if you're not coming from a tech background,
Hmm.
you can have a tech startup
Yeah.
because the knowledge of business and marketing and sales is necessary everywhere.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding very inspiring is exactly that I have been a little girl that has been interested in dolls, and I have been through this journey where I haven't been introduced to tech when I was a
Uh,
kid. And with that knowledge, I've experienced how much it would have been even better if I was introduced to tech.
yeah.
So, and on contrary, Christoph, he experienced a different upbringing.
Hmm.
So we are taking both of our experiences and we are talking to the audience who are experiencing the same. So I can really resonate to kids
Hmm.
that don't know how to code, and I can talk to them and say,
Yeah,
listen,
because
if I
because
can
it's
learn it,
yeah,
then you can
basically it's
definitely.
you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm talking to all the women that are maybe doubtful of their knowledge or lack of knowledge. I will
Hmm.
put, how do you say this? Quotes, lack of knowledge.
Yeah,
Um,
basically you don't know how to code, but it's I don't
yeah,
think it's a problem, right?
no,
Because
absolutely.
actually
Sorry,
also you need the people who don't know how to code in a tech company, because
exactly.
if I found that really powerful that you ask your co-founder to explain, teach me like I'm a 9-year old, I'm a girl who has only ever played with dolls and who is interested in makeup and mobile phones and looking good, and for the rest just but make it appealing. And if you can do that, I think that's a huge asset.
Yes, exactly. I see this as the two of us seeing the world maybe in a different way. And in
Hmm.
that sense, we are not building a product that is going to be exclusive to one niche of people.
Hmm.
Exactly. He's having someone, he can pick my brains out to understand, okay, how can we make this appealing to an audience that is not interested in this in the
Yeah,
first go, while what he's having the knowledge in is how to make this interesting to someone who's already interested in this.
yeah,
So that's the beauty of it, because we can really mix both of our experiences. And I don't mind saying that I don't know how to code, and to me that's not really something that I need to know, but
mm,
something that I've learned in the process of building a tech company is to understand the importance of technology
yeah,
in early adoption and importance of technology overall. And that's the word that I can talk about. And the coding is just a little tool that can help you get to the point where technology is really something that we utilize to help rather than distract.
yeah. I want to pick up on something you just said. So it's important for people to understand technology. Why is it important for especially children to learn tech skills early on?
So the way I see that is that I see polarization in, and I think it's a problematic polarization in people who know how to build technology and the ones who are using it.
Yeah.
And that polarization is also making an income polarization, because we are creating the knowledge polarization in that
Huh?
sense. So in order to know how to use something, I believe that we need to understand how that something works, so we can then be critical about the usage, and we can really use it to help us rather than distract us
Uh-huh.
or make us less smart. So the reason why I think children should learn this from the young age is that they will then become this critical mass, that once they are having new technology presented to them, they can really evaluate, okay, will this be helpful? Can I really understand how this works? How
Hmm.
can I protect my data? How can I protect my time and my
Hmm.
focus? And how can I really utilize this by understanding how this works essentially.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is also that it's a bit of, let's say, an antidote to prevent things like knowledge inequality, and with that probably also income inequality over time.
Yes, absolutely. Because again, I coming from my own experience of someone who has been just a user of technology. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, technology was mainly a tool. It was very helpful. But then once I got introduced to it, once my co-founder showed me the knowledge that he's having,
Mm-hmm.
the progress in his field, I and the I'm missing the word, the development of technology overall in all industries, to stay ahead of it, we need to come back to the basics to understand how it works so we can then be the ones who are in control. Let's take an example of AI and how ChatGPT is giving problems to schools right now, where students are writing essays by using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing is that new generations will not be we cannot teach them in the same way I was taught in the school to remember facts
Yeah.
and to remember who died where and what equations we can calculate something.
Yeah.
What we need to teach them is how to utilize what we already made, what the humanity made,
Mm-hmm.
and be critical about it.
Yeah.
But in order to be critical about something, we need to actually understand it. So that's the line of thought that I'm having. In order to be critical, to decide on your own, you
Mm-hmm.
need to understand the baseline, which is basics of coding and
Mm-hmm.
robotics, and yeah, coding of robotics and engineering
Yeah.
could give to children.
One critical element that I was wondering about is there's of course parents and teachers who are still let's make it a bit polarizing, living in the old world,
Mhm.
and they're worried, right or wrong, about screen time. How do you accommodate for that in your tool, Rotoy?
We are very much aware of that issue, and we're trying to be careful how we're going about this.
Mm-hmm.
What we offer to parents and to children as well is that this is a quality screen time, in a sense that yes, we are not taking away the phone and the laptop and the tablet, because essentially this is not something that our mission is.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tool your kid will use regardless of Rotoy or any other product,
Mm-hmm.
and regardless if you're going to take their phone or just give them access for an hour, it's essentially tools that they're going to use and they should know how to use.
Yeah.
So let's say it like that. But what we're offering is that we are creating a program that teaches kids how to code, but engages them as well.
Yeah.
That's where our story element comes in place.
Mm-hmm.
So they are sitting in front of the laptop and they're seeing similar engaging contents, like they're seeing, I cannot really say TikTok, but maybe Netflix show or a Netflix series
Mm-hmm.
or a cartoon. They're seeing it, so it's familiar to them,
Yeah.
but they're then learning step by step how to code.
Okay. So
So
basic.
essentially,
So
we're
basically, if I understand correctly, Rotoy is a, yeah. How do you, is it a tool or an application? Maybe describe the concept behind it.
Yes, of course. So Rotoy is a physical toy, a robot toy that is like a hand size that kids then code. And when I say that, they code this robot on their laptop on
Mm-hmm.
the program that we have created. It's called Rotoy Play.
Yeah.
And over there, they're engaging with the story universe.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a Rotoy in space.
Ah.
So this physical toy that they're seeing in front of them is a character in the story. It's a rover on a Mars that a kid is programming to do several missions, like
Mm-hmm.
finding north or finding temperature or going back and forth, spinning,
Yeah.
showing lights. So essentially, it's connecting two worlds:
Mm-hmm.
the imaginary one that they're seeing online, and then the physical one that they're seeing in front of them.
Yeah.
So we're engaging both tactical or tangible skills, but and also the cognitive skills.
So basically, it's like yeah, robots in space, but then in
Yeah,
front of your eyes, and seeing the robot do something in front of your eyes that you programmed them to do in space. So pick up a stone
exactly.
or well, what have you.
Yes, exactly. And then we are also creating ideas for children to engage in the imaginary world that
Hmm.
they're seeing on the screen,
Hmm.
to, let's say, take the robot outside so they can, let's say, mimic the surface of the Mars,
Yeah.
or if they need to go around an obstacle in the story, we invite them to take a cup of coffee, or not, that doesn't have to
Yeah.
be coffee, just a cup, so they can engage, so they can have this kind of sense of real time play
Yeah.
as what they're seeing on the screen.
So they can literally move the robot around without using their hands. So make the
Exactly.
robot sort of do that itself. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. So I want to go back a bit to the part about teachers because this is it's educational software in the end. I think.
Yes.
Uh, how does this? How can I use this if I'm a teacher and I'm listening? How can I use this Rotoy in my lessons?
Yeah, of course. So this is something that we are exploring new at this moment,
Hmm.
because Rotoy was primarily made for use at home.
Hmm.
But what we are doing right now is a collaboration in school in Odense, where we are co-creating a curriculum for teachers to use Rotoy in their tech classes.
Yeah.
And the way this is going to look like is that we're going to create a manual that is very simple, with 10 lessons of 45 minutes, where teachers will not only use Rotoy in their class,
Hmm.
but they will use other elements such as 3D printing, laser cutting, design thinking. So we are combining
Hmm.
Rotoy in something that is called 21st century skills.
Yeah.
That is also undertaking other makerspace activities, as what I mentioned.
Okay.
So the way teachers will be able to use Rotoy is, let's say, a first class is to create a mission where kids will learn how to 3D print an obstacle,
Hmm.
and then code Rotoy to go around that obstacle.
Hmm.
Or kids will need to laser cut a body,
Hmm.
let's say a ladybug.
Hmm.
They will paint that, put it on the robot on Rotoy, and then the Rotoy will go around, and they can create a zoo in the classroom of different 3D printing designs and different animals. That's one of our ideas for the
Yeah.
classroom. So essentially, the concept that we are creating with schools is that we're building this curriculum where not only coding will be taught,
Hmm.
but we're including other elements of makerspace.
Yeah.
And to add, we are also very much considering all other important topics that are being discussed right now. For example, recycling, sustainability, global warming.
Hmm.
So we are including those elements into our curriculum so that kids can also learn about that
Yeah.
while they're playing with the robot and learning other elements in a makerspace.
So it's really holistic, the approach then.
Exactly. That's
Uh,
the idea.
yeah. Okay. So there's another element involved, I think. There's storytelling. You happen to live in the city of storytelling
Yes.
because Odense is the city where Hans Christian Andersen, a famous story writer, was born. How do you incorporate the storytelling part of it?
So it's so funny. So first of all, Odense is primarily a birth city of Hans Christian Andersen, but also one of the biggest robotic clusters in Europe.
Oh,
And for us, it was a combination of both elements of the city into one product.
yeah.
Why storytelling? I mean, everyone loves stories,
Hmm.
and stories has been a learning teaching tool for centuries. We can really engage our imagination, which I think it's very crucial in an early age as well.
Hmm.
And the way we are incorporating that is we're introducing a narrative that is appropriate topic for the age that we are addressing. In this case, we have a space,
Yeah.
and we are placing a child to be the main character of the story.
Ah, yeah.
So they are the ones who are that the story is talking to,
Yeah.
and the robot itself, what they're having as a physical toy, is also a character in the story.
Yeah.
So we are engaging both the child who is playing the player
Hmm.
to be the main character in the story. We have other characters in the story that are so-called helpers,
Yeah.
and friends that main character, the child, can create a relationship to,
Yeah.
as what we also know is a known element in storytelling. And then the robot is, as I said, both physical toy and the character in the story
Yeah.
that a main character, the player, is playing with.
Okay. So that is about storytelling. I was wondering, can you share some of the biggest challenges that you ran into? I know you like a fair challenge, but sometimes they can be, let's say, challenging in a way that is not necessarily positive. Yeah, maybe in the outcome, but can you share some of the things you ran into while
Of
creating
course.
this?
I mean, one of our biggest challenge since we started, and it is until today,
Hmm?
is the focus that we are the children's focus that is nowhere to be found
Yeah.
in the age group. So we are targeting children from 8 to 12,
Yeah.
and they're preteens, so they want to be treated as adults,
Yeah.
but the focus they're having is not really an adult focus.
No.
So it's interesting combination in the way we need to gamify
Hmm?
our product. There's a fine line in creating an educational product
Hmm?
and then an entertaining product.
Yeah.
Kids want to be entertained, parents want their kids to be educated.
Yeah.
So there is a very, and it's almost like something that is an ongoing testing process for us,
Yeah.
because if a child doesn't want to play again, then we don't have a sustainable business.
No.
But if we're creating something that is addictive, then we're losing trust in parents.
Yeah.
So that's something that is a challenge, and that we are still trying to
To
hit the
address.
right sweet spot.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that we are on the right way there. I'm seeing the stories are exactly that element that is keeping kids engaged. Although we are seeing differences between gender. Yeah, we are seeing that girls are more likely to follow a story, and they're more likely to immerse themselves into this imaginary world,
Hmm.
while boys are okay, where's the action, let me code, let
Yeah.
me destroy some things, let me make this robot fly now.
Yeah.
So even though we initially approached in with the same way, we're seeing that we might need to separate. We
Mm.
are now going to label. This is a boy story or girl story. We will not label, but there will be indications where, or we are seeing that there are indications of difference in approach and difference in learning.
Do you think that's good? Also, that's maybe also good for to make girls interested. If you manage to tell a good story and to really captivate them, would that be a good way for girls to be taught tech skills through storytelling?
I mean, we are definitely seeing that is working. So we are onto something here,
Yeah.
because they're really not, from my learning, and girls in that age, you need to give them something that is nice and beautiful, and something that they can feel and they can connect to the character,
Hmm.
and it's really tapping into that I'm really trying. I mean, I'm trying not to. Trying to be correct in my wording here, but we are seeing that we are tapping into this feminine energy.
Yeah.
And if this is the way we can introduce something that is a bit more black and white,
Uh-huh.
which I'm not saying it's more appropriate for any gender, but what I'm seeing is that they learn in a different way. They comprehend things in a different
Yeah.
way, and they engage with these materials in a different way. So if stories and if beautiful stories and beautiful designs
Mm.
and can captivate, can take the focus,
Mm.
and in that way show them that technology is not only trucks and gray and just boys play with it.
Yeah.
We then introduce the diversity from an early age
Yeah.
into this into STEM.
Yeah, and I think that's what I particularly like about the whole concept. That it's let me try to phrase this in a positive way. It adds color to black and white.
Yeah, exactly. And
Because tech is often really pictured as a black thing, as dirty, or at least it used to be. It's dirty for boys only, and if you can use storytelling to as a way to add color to that and really draw girls into the to how much fun it is, I think you're really onto something. Absolutely.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really see also in my own journey on getting into a tech world without being a tech
Yeah.
background. I'm seeing how the diversity and collaboration is what brings the most value.
Yeah.
Because if I go to my office where I sit with most tech startups, you will see three girls in a room of 50 people.
Hmm.
So
How is
it's not
that, by the
only,
way?
sorry.
How is that, by the way? Because you're a female CEO of a tech company.
Yeah, it's I mean, I those are some things that I don't see. I don't want to put myself into that, let's say, put those glasses and consider myself, oh,
Hmm.
I see it more as fun, because I think there's so much beauty that both both genders bring to the table, and the collaboration and the harmony of both brings the most value. This
Yeah.
is what I see, and that to me, that makes me very joyful. So it's sometimes challenging because there's a different lingo that you kind of need
Yeah.
to bring on.
Hmm.
But on the contrary, I'm staying very true to myself, and I'm being very feminine in my work, and I'm being very caring, and I'm not saying yes to the Wall Street type of mentality where we all wear gray and we're all very in the box, and
Yeah.
I'm saying no to it. So whoever works with me and whoever is internally in the company, or we are collaborating externally, I'm so much bringing both worlds, the both
Yeah. Also the feminine side of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you think about creation,
Hmm.
if you're thinking about creation and creating something, we do need to consider everyone, because the technology that we're creating, we're not creating it just for the one type, or one type of person or human.
Yeah. True.
And I'm seeing that if you learn how to collaborate from the educate in the early age and
Hmm.
early stage to the stage where you come and you're having CEOs of companies, then the products that we will create
Hmm.
will serve. We will try to make it to serve everyone. Yeah. So that's the way I see it. Collaboration is
It's a way
the
to make it inclusive.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I want to switch gears a bit. Yeah, we already discussed that you're in Odense and that it's the
Yeah.
birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen. You're also a storyteller of a different kind because you ended up on a TED Talk stage.
Yes,
Tell me how
yes.
that worked, what happened, how that came about.
That's I have to tell this
Yeah.
story because it's TED Talk to me. I mean, I've seen it. I was inspired so many times watching those videos.
Mhm.
And a year ago, I was creating a vision board of my year. And on that vision board, I was just like, on the vision board, I put TED Talk, and I put it. It's a long shot. It's a long shot.
Yeah. Maybe
And
it
then
happens, maybe it doesn't.
yeah, and then this year, sometimes no, last year in December,
Hmm.
I got an email from a person that I met through my business cycle, business environment in Odense,
Hmm.
that is running TEDx in Odense.
Hmm.
I mean, I knew him because he was giving me presentation on how to do a good pitch and so on, and he has been hearing my presentations in Odense, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing this series, TEDx in Odense,
Yeah.
and we want you in." And I'm like, okay. I couldn't really believe how did I did.
Yes.
And I said, okay, sure, let's have a meeting. And we had a meeting. And
Did he know
after that,
about vision board, by the way?
sorry?
Did he know about the vision board?
No, I told him after we kind of shook on it. I
Yeah.
told him, hey, I need to tell you something. This is actually has been on my vision board. And he was like, no way.
Yeah.
You have to tell this. And I promised to myself and to him, I'm going to always tell this story about
Yeah.
vision board. Okay, and then we got into preparation for the TED Talk, and the focus was to not directly talk about Rotoy, but to talk about exactly what we are talking today:
Yeah.
importance of early education and introduction to robotics into early education.
Yeah.
And my concept about my approach to this 18 minutes of the talk was I'm going to immerse the audience into the story that I'm going to tell. So I did the same thing we're doing with Rotoy.
Hmm.
The audience was the main character.
Yeah.
I invited them into remembering their childhood, remembering them sleeping and their mother reading a story or grandmother reading a story. And I invited them to feel that coziness and to
Huh?
feel that whole experience they have felt when they were a kid. And then the transition was okay, now imagine that this is something that your child is using to learn how to code.
Yeah.
Remember all those good feelings, and now just consider that this is also educational. And then I've developed this into another story. So essentially, the conclusion was that diversity and that early adoption of coding
Yeah.
and robotics will essentially bring us to the knowledge that we can then use to create with technology the value in our lives.
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing. Because I
Thank you.
had to ask, and the reason I always also asked about was he aware on your vision about your vision board, your coach? I was a bit like, okay, there must be a story behind that, otherwise you wouldn't be telling. Uh,
Mm.
are there any things you picked up from that process, by the way, in terms of skills that you can deploy elsewhere?
You mean TED Talk
Yeah,
or? I mean, personally, I love giving I
yeah,
love giving speeches.
yeah,
This is personally, I love being on the stage, and when I know that I have something valuable to share, or at least I believe that I do.
yeah,
Something that it was a good advice from the TED Talk team, TEDx team, is they told me audience is on your side.
yeah,
First of all, they don't know your script. So even if you make a mistake, they don't know it.
no,
You know it. So you need to kind of learn if that happens that you stay, grounded and you pretend that like that thing happened and you move on.
mm-hmm,
And then the second thing I've been told, which was also great advice, is that the audience that is there came to be inspired.
yeah,
So they're receptive. and they're acceptive of your thoughts,
Hmm.
of your energy, and of your story. But my advice to anyone who is coming to a big stage like that, or
Yeah.
who is going to do a TED talk, is that engage with the audience. Let them be the part of your speech,
Hmm.
and see them, feel them, and give them you, in a sense, because they came to see you, and if they're going to feel you, they're going to remember you.
Yeah.
They might not remember, every sentence, or they might not even remember the objective of the talk, but if you give them something that is human
Hmm.
and being, yeah, just being, yeah, human. I will repeat it
Yeah.
again, because in the world of technology we might sometimes forget that. So if you give them you, they will remember you.
Sounds like a great place to move into my final question. I have an arrangement with Jacqueline van der Ende. She's the founder of Carbon Equity. They help not healthy, but well, maybe also healthy, but especially wealthy individuals invest in a better climate. And she gave me the task about 2 years ago to make this podcast irrelevant by the end of 2032. What would be your advice to make that happen?
First of all, I think you're already doing a great job by bringing by talking about this,
Hmm.
and by utilizing your platform, uh, and informing the audience, informing the people, sharing the stories of individuals like myself and like other individuals that has been on your show,
Hmm.
because not every time we get a chance to be to share the word outside of our own bubble.
Yeah,
So you giving the platform to the voices that are making the change
yeah,
in the industry is already something that is going to make, unfortunately, maybe your podcast. What was the word again? What did you
irrelevant.
say? Irrelevant. But in 10 years from now on, what I would what I would maybe focus is that, thinking who is going to be the change makers in 10 years.
Hmm. Okay.
So the audience that is maybe now 10, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Yeah,
they should be the one that we will show them what diversity means, what diversity in technology
yeah.
means. We need to show them what exclusive and not inclusiveness means,
Hmm.
and what does it mean to create something meaningful.
Yeah,
So focusing on teenagers, maybe bringing someone who is 15 and 16 and is doing relevant things in tech,
okay.
could be an interesting story to hear,
Yeah.
because
Well, that's
exactly.
that is going to be a challenge because okay,
Yeah.
the youngest I've had is Lizzie Wilmer, I think. Yeah, you and Lizzie are probably the youngest women I've had, and she's in gaming.
Hmm.
Um, but sounds like a great challenge to have youngsters. Yeah, that's a bad word to use. Now I'm really looking like a boomer. Uh, No, but
Teens,
the having yeah, really young people on the podcast and see if
because those are the people that is in 10 years they will be the ones either starting to make the change in the
yeah,
industry, or will already be changing.
yeah,
um, and the ones who will be like, and I don't want to say myself, because I will consider myself young in 10 years.
mm,
But the older generations can advise us, and can be the knowledge and the guidance that
yeah,
young people who still haven't got their hands dirty can come and seek advice from. And if you target someone who is speaking their language, and I'm saying there because those are 10 years younger
yeah,
kids than young adults, then we might be able to create this positive change where we are seeing young adults not following the same path, or maybe disrupting
Yeah.
the ordinary,
Hmm.
and then doing something engaging in their early age or early 20s.
Yeah. Sounds like a great place to wrap up. So
Well, I really do hope that both what you are doing and both what I'm doing can really create what we are looking to create, and that
yeah.
is more inclusiveness in tech, valuable technology, people that actually know how to use it rather than being used by it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we will have a synergy between humans and technology.
Thank you. Amen to that, by the way.
Yes,
So,
yes, that's the utopia that I'm looking to see one
well,
day.
let's make it reality.
Yes.
So, thanks for the conversation, Vedrana. Last question: where can listeners learn more about you and about Rotoy? By the way, is it available outside Denmark?
Um, it
Okay.
is available outside of Denmark. So where you can learn about Rotoy is at rotoy.dk. This is where our website is,
Yeah.
and you can find me on LinkedIn. And my name is Vedrana Rogoznica. I know it's not really easy to even pronounce or write, but I'm sure you will manage.
Yep.
Um, and I hope that my TED Talk will be out soon, so you can see that as well and get inspired
Yeah.
with that too. And then let's start from that. If people want to get in touch with me, I'm more than happy to have a conversation. I'm also mentoring few startups. So if you're starting your startup journey, and you're doubting some things about marketing and even robotics, please just reach out.
Okay. Vedrana, thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. Um, and listeners will include those links in the show notes. Of course, also when the TED Talk becomes available, we'll include that as well. With that, that's all for today. Thanks very much for listening, and until the next episode, keep being awesome. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to episode 63 of Women Disrupting Tech with Vedrana Rogoznica on how programming a robot can unlock hidden potential in children. Vedrana and I hope that you've enjoyed our conversation as much as we did. And if you'd like to learn more about Vedrana and Rotoy, please feel free to connect with her via the links in the show notes. As usual, you can find the show notes at womendisruptingtech.blog. On the same website, you can also become a member of the Women Disrupting Tech community. As a member, you get early access to new episodes, and in the weekly newsletter, I'll share what I learned from each of the episodes that I publish. Plus, you're the first to hear when new blog post about women who built the internet come online. So check out the show notes for a link. When you're looking for a role model to inspire your own hero's journey in tech, I invite you to check out one of the other episodes of this podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And if you're a regular listener, would you consider giving the show a rating or a review? That way, you help other people discover the podcast. If you're a male ally and you want to help Vedrana and the other women disrupting tech make this podcast obsolete by the end of 2032, there's a simple thing you can do. Please share the podcast with friends, family, and coworkers because this way you give my guests the platform they need to make it happen. Finally, if you want to connect with me, reach out via dirkjan at womendisruptingtech.blog or send me a DM on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, just look up my name and you'll find me. With that, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope to see you in the next episode. And in the meantime, keep being awesome.